Welcome to our episode of Talk Your Walk. Today we have one of our very interesting entrepreneurs who founded 2 companies, Baked and Be Good Today. She's got really interesting and delicious cookies, cupcakes and cakes and balls and like so many different products. And thank you so much, Nadine, for coming on the show.
Thank you.
I remember like the first time I saw a really interesting cupcake. It said gluten-free, and that was like way back when.
Yeah.
I didn't know what that was, and I know that was your brand, so I called her like, what the hell is gluten-free? She said, it's healthy things for people who care.
Yeah.
I said, okay, I just want to taste it. It looks great. I tasted it. It was amazing. And then I said, okay, it's even healthy, so made me really happy. And so congratulations on both companies.
Thank you.
And thanks for being on the show.
Thank you so much.
All right, so today actually we want to talk to you a bit about who you are. Our show is focused on interviewing interesting entrepreneurs, athletes, musicians.
Thank you for inviting me.
No, you're welcome. Thanks for being on the show. So I wanna ask you like the first question, like who are you?
Okay, who am I? Okay.
I'm kidding.
Yeah, we're gonna be here forever.
No, I want to ask you like what drives you? What's the driving force that makes you do anything? What moves you to achieve anything?
I mean, so basically my background is like in graphic design and photography. So I was working, like normal people do after they graduate, and then I had my kids. So I took a break, and then I always knew I was going to do something. I just didn't know what it was going to be. I had loads of ideas. I had like an app I wanted to do. I had like a hagatanya, and I used to make cookies all the time for my kids. And then the owner of Mince, remember Mince, the burger place? Yeah. He's like, listen, we want you to do the cookies for Mince, and that's basically how it started. So I've always been very driven, very self-driven and motivated, and I love creating something out of nothing. I just think that's like the coolest thing ever. So that drives me for sure. Yeah.
So tell me, like, obviously you have like a creative side, something that wants to create these cookies, and you were into photography and all that, and you also have a business side.
Yeah.
Like now that you have your company, how much does each one of them weigh?
I actually hate the business side. I really, it's not my thing. I didn't do business in school. So very creative, very artistic. And I've learned along the way, I have a business sense, I think. And I've learned along the way certain terminology if I'm sitting with somebody very, that wants to talk about business things. So I understand the terminology and I can have that conversation. So the business side, it's not my strong, side. I have a partner, thankfully, who's great at that stuff. And he's great at numbers and accounting and all the stuff I hate. And I just do the fun stuff. So I do marketing, I'm in charge of social media, I do recipe development and all the stuff I love.
Great. So you said like if you're in a meeting you know the terminology. Do you also sometimes worry about how people perceive you? Is that something you think about?
Of course. Yeah, sure. I mean, there's always kind of an element of like insecurity. I've been doing this for a very long time, but I still, and I'm getting used to it. And with these kinds of interviews too, it's very helpful. But yeah, for sure. I mean, it depends. Like sometimes I can be in a room with very, successful people or investors, for example, and I feel intimidated and yeah. But I can talk confidently, I think, about my stuff because it's mine, It's easy to talk about things that you're very passionate about. Yeah.
So tell me, before you had a partner, I'm curious, how was that going?
It was hard. It was hard. On the one side, it was kind of cool because I was always making my own decisions. But then on the other side, I needed somebody to talk to bounce ideas off and, get feedback and, help me sometimes make decisions, especially when it comes to things like business strategy or stuff like that I'm not very good at, like forecasting or whatever, you know what I mean? Like if we want to, a feasibility study, that's something that I need. So, yeah.
Okay, Nadine, so we want to go a bit back in time. To your childhood and your upbringing. Okay. Do you remember like any specific incident that you remember to today that had an influence on your character?
Well, I saw a difference between my brother and me in terms of he felt a lot of pressure to be something specific. He was going to go to medical school and then he changed his mind and he went into finance. But there was like definitely pressure for him to kind of go into a certain lane. For me, it was like, whatever you want to do, which was great. So I ended up doing art and graphic design and photography, and really finding very early on what I enjoyed doing. So I think that was cool. I think it was, I guess, good of my parents to kind of just let me just do whatever I wanted to do, and yeah, that was cool, that freedom.
Okay, was there ever a moment like before you really founded these two companies where you were like just dissatisfied with the status quo of how things are, and then you said, okay, I want to do something to change?
It wasn't kind of like that.
No.
With Baked, it wasn't like that. It was just very organic, and it was like, I love making cookies and let's do this and see where it goes. With Be Good Today, there was definitely a bigger vision. You know, a more kind of holistic one where, you know, I wanted to promote, you know, well-being and you know, wellness, I mean, in general. And I just thought, you know, if you can have an indulgent dessert that's actually good for you, how cool is that? Yeah.
Very cool.
Yeah. Yeah.
Especially for a sweet tooth like me.
Yeah.
But did you ever feel like there was a certain point where it was like there's a call to adventure for you? Or like there's a call for you to do this thing?
I mean, yeah. I mean, there's like a few reasons. So with Be Good Today, I discovered a niche in the market, and I was getting very into nutrition at the time, and there was nothing available at the time. Nobody even knew what gluten was at the time. So that was very exciting for me to, you know, and in terms of just creating, you know, innovating from an innovative standpoint. Be Good Today was great because you're making bread with no bread, you're making, you know, cake with no flour and stuff. It was really, really innovative, and I loved that, and I was filling a niche in the market. So there was definitely that. Yeah, that's basically it.
Was there anyone on your journey who felt he was kind of like a catalyst, who pushed you to do that or helped you? Or?
I mean, yeah. So when I had Baked, people would come up to me all the time. Nadine, every time I go into Gourmet, I buy one of your cookies. And there was just so much guilt around my cookies. Like, it was so upsetting, you know. I mean, cookies are great. First of all, they're small, you know, in terms of a dessert, they're perfect, but whatever. So that was definitely something that kept happening to me, and it was like, you know, a bit, yeah. And then I had one of my really good customers who's like, listen, I'm going to stop ordering your stuff because I'm gluten-free and you don't have any gluten-free stuff. And I was like, gluten-free? So I started doing some research, and the world, you know what I mean, abroad was already kind of doing this. Like the health wave already started, the health awareness and the products and stuff like that. Gluten-free, dairy-free, sugar-free, all of these terminologies. Paleo was one before, but it's not nobody really uses it anymore. Now there's like keto and there's different things. But people just became really, really aware of their health recently. So, and there was nothing in Egypt. So I said, yes, I'm going to do this. Yeah. And I thought it was just great for me as well, personally.
Did you do like a lot of trials? Or did you have like any failures? Or was it like immediately you got the first cookie right or whatever?
Of course. It took
not the first cookie, but like people to accept also.
Oh, yeah, to raise that kind of awareness. Surprisingly, it wasn't that difficult in terms of awareness, just because, you know, some people have allergies or they have illnesses or they have intolerances and they are on a very strict diet. So when they find somebody that's actually selling this stuff and it tastes good, you know, they're looking for you, basically. You know what I mean? There was a need for it, basically. Yeah. Okay,
I want to know a bit about your journey as an entrepreneur.
Okay.
Was there any moment where you felt that, okay, now I really have to face my fears, my biggest fears, and I have to move forward? Yeah. You remember that?
Yes, I do. I remember there was a point I told my husband, I said, either I quit and close, or we, you know, it's like go big or go home, or we make this something, or we make this successful. We pump money into it. We get, you know, we hire more people. There was a huge thing, actually, huge realization in growing my business, where I was doing, you know how you do everything in the beginning, like you're just wearing all the hats. And I remember I was part of this like this really cool She Entrepreneurs program in Sweden, and I had a mentor, and she told me, she's like, just do what you're good at and hire somebody else to do the stuff you don't like to do, that you're not good at. I was like, amazing. I don't need to do the accounting stuff. I don't need to do this. I don't need to do that. So I was just concentrating on, you know, I started just focusing on what I want to do, like recipe development, everything else. Logistics, operations, I needed to outsource that. I couldn't do it anymore. It was taking all of my time. So this concept of, go big or go home, it was like a pivotal moment because, I realized that I need to make this something or stop. And I decided to make it something, which, it's tough, but it's been good. Yeah, it's been good.
It's be good.
Yes.
So was there any moment of a real crisis that you had to face, or that you faced?
Yeah, there's been a few. In terms of crisis, we've never had a huge crisis, but there have been very, very, very challenging moments, with the companies. The one that I'm facing the most right now is competition. It doesn't sit well with me. And I take things personally. I take things personally when things happen in the market, or I have a meeting that doesn't go well or something. I do take these things personally. But in terms of crisis, no, we've never really had a crisis.
So let's say you talked about this moment where you sat with your husband and you said, okay, we have to go big or go small.
Go home,
Did you go home, son? I said, go big or go small. Yeah. So you talked about this moment where you sat with your husband and you said, we have to either go big or go home.
Yeah.
But did you also have moments of doubt along the way? What am I doing? Should I continue doing this, or it's too hard, or was it
I've never really had that. I think about it all the time. I've never really had that. I think that I've been pretty lucky that I never really risked a lot in the beginning. I started off with a very small amount of money, and we grew organically. So it's not like I had investors or, a huge amount of money, that I pumped into it, and I have to, return, obviously, work my butt off for that. So, thankfully, it's been quite organic. So, no, and I've always wanted to continue it. I never thought of quitting, but even if I did, I always took that as well, very well. It's not a huge failure. I've learned so much. I've always had that mindset as well, that it's, I've done so much that if it ends tomorrow because the competition have beat me, it's okay.
That's a great attitude.
Yeah. Also, innovation is really, really important. Evolving all the time and innovating all the time, and being very much aware of your competition, and that's extremely important. And having strategic business relationships is very important.
So tell me, was there any moment or any decision that you took, or any something that you did where you felt that, okay, I really understood myself now? When you just said competition doesn't sit with me well.
Yeah.
Did you know that about yourself? Or was there anything else?
I'm not competitive in any other area of my life. I'm really not. I'm not competitive with sports. I've never been competitive with anything, really. And it was surprising how competitive I am with my companies. It's very surprising. Especially Be Good Today, just because it's very much, it's just a labor of love, kida. I'm very passionate about it. It's they're both my babies, but Be Good Today is, it's very much a reflection of me, I feel, the brand. So, yeah.
Interesting that you say that.
Okay.
Does it worry you that people would taste your products and say they don't like them? Do you feel that reflects on you?
No. It happens. It's personal preference, right? No, we get it a lot. Your cookies are too sweet. I didn't like it. I thought it was too dry, whatever it is. But I love listening to feedback. It's so important. Also, I've created the recipes, and I've hired important people to run my kitchen, but something can slip in the kitchen, and without the feedback, I wouldn't know that I need to go back and check it, you know what I mean? And check and see what's going on. Lots of things can slip, but no, in general, it's okay. I've had people really need to understand what they're eating, I think. Because our crackers, for example, we have vegetable crackers, they're keto friendly. They have no sugar in them. They're super duper healthy. But for somebody that doesn't really know what they're eating, or the benefit, that doesn't see the benefit of them, they'll be like, oh, they're terrible. What are these terrible crackers I'm eating? Hazeb, So, yeah.
And what about your family? Did you have support from your family, or were they oh, she's off baking again, or?
No, they've always been very supportful. They've always been really supportive, and I've always been very aware of life-work balance. I do have 3 kids. And a husband and a house, and it's also a job. So I think, no, they've always been really supportive, alhamdulillah, it's been good. Yeah.
Okay, let's say also again back to your journey. Like,
Yeah.
when was the moment where you felt, okay, I finally achieved something?
Oh no, I felt it from the beginning. From the very first second, I designed the logo, baked logo myself. You know, because it's so funny. You can literally make your own company sitting at your laptop. You know, so yeah. So I like made some cookies. I did some recipes, and then I went to my computer and I made a business plan for myself, and I did the logo, and I'm like, did it. Yeah, it was great. It was great. I always felt like, I always felt that from the beginning.
Okay, so now after everything that you've been through, do you think that you actually cracked the code?
I mean, not completely, obviously. Obviously, I'm learning every single day, making extensive mistakes every single day, but learning from them, you know, it's a learning curve. But I have learned some really, really, really important things along the way, for sure. You know, surround yourself with the right people, have great, you know, business relationships, even when, you know, somebody doesn't want you as a supplier anymore. Maintain a good relationship. You never know what's going to happen in the future. My competition, I mean, I pretty much know everybody in my industry-ish, and I consider them friends, and it's a very open, friendly relationship. I can help you, you can help me. Like I believe in that. I believe in those relationships for sure. And yeah, keep working. Don't get discouraged, but don't overdo it. And now I've recently decided on Fridays, I don't do anything work related. I could do some social media stuff, but in general, I don't do anything work related. I just don't. I take it completely off. And that's been really cool.
That's great. So what's the tip that you'd give yourself 10 years ago? Have a partner. I believe in it. I do. I think sole founders, I think it's tough. I think it's important to have a partner with the same vision as you, same managerial style is really important. You know, somebody very aligned with you in terms of company culture. That's really important. Alhamdulillah, my partner is like that. And then he has strengths that I don't have. So it's a nice balance. I would definitely advise people to not try to do it alone. It's tough. Okay, so what advice would you give yourself today?
Oh, 10 years ago?
No, today.
Oh, today? What advice would I give myself today? Just keep going and like don't get all down. You know, if things go wrong, it's just a very up and down, but it definitely has more ups than downs. So don't get discouraged and keep innovating.
Okay, last question.
Yes.
Is there anything you want to ask me?
I could ask you all of those questions. Back to you. What do you think? What do you think has been what are your biggest, like, what advice would you give somebody that's starting a company today?
I think a lot of what you said, like probably like the team, very, very important. Don't start just by yourself. Yeah. Hire the people that have the skills that you don't have. And just keep going as long as it still makes sense. Yeah. And if you really did everything that you can and it's not working, then okay, you can give up. That's also okay. But just give it like 100%. Cool.
Yeah. And I was thinking even like, you know, this evolving concept is really cool because, you know, let's say I fail. Like let's say baked cookies, you know, I just don't do them anymore. I can do something else. You know, you can just evolve it into something else, you know, like whatever. You can be innovative, frozen cookie dough, or go into supermarkets, or, you know, you can just, yeah.
Like that's one thing that I feel, you know, it's really okay to fail. Yeah. As long as you try.
Yeah. And you don't lose $1 billion. Of
course,
yeah.
It's not okay to fail, but I mean it's fine. You know, it happens. Yeah. And you're gonna learn a lot along the way. Yeah. And it's better than wondering what would have happened if I had tried.
Yeah, for sure. I agree.
And now the really last question. Okay. I just want to know, did you enjoy yourself today?
Yes, I did. I don't know what camera to look in, but I really enjoyed myself. Yeah, it was great. It was really nice talking about my journey. I was telling you before in the break that usually, I mean, I talk about my companies, but I never talk about my personal journey. Mm-hmm. You know, like as an entrepreneur, like what it's like. So it's been cool. I like talking about my company and my journey. Thank you. Thank you.